My wife said during couples therapy, "If I had to choose between you and my ex right now, I'd choose him." The therapist went silent. I stood up, looked at her, and said, "Then go choose him." I walked out. The voicemail she left that night, begging me to come back, went unanswered. "My name's Ethan. I'm 37 now, and if you had told me a year ago that my entire life would fall apart in a single counseling session, I would have laughed. I thought I had a stable marriage. Not perfect, not exciting every second, but solid, dependable. I thought that mattered. I thought I mattered. My ex-wife now, Madison, 35, had suggested couples therapy because she felt we'd lost our spark. I agreed without hesitation. I wanted to fix things. I was ready to show up, be vulnerable, do whatever it took. We'd been married 8 years, together for nearly 10. No kids, mostly because she kept moving the timeline. But I trusted her, loved her, believed that when two people committed, they worked through the hard stuff. For 3 months, we sat on that same scratched leather couch in that quiet office with its mint-scented diffuser humming in the corner. At first, I honestly thought we were improving, talking more, listening more, holding hands on the walk back to the car. I was hopeful. I didn't realize I was the only one who actually believed we were fixing things. On that Tuesday session, the one that detonated everything, our therapist, Dr. Grant, had us do the so-called radical honesty exercise. I didn't think anything of it. Madison had been asking for more emotional transparency for months. She went first, said she felt disconnected, nostalgic for the passion of her 20s, the thrill of unpredictability. I figure it was normal relationship dissatisfaction, the stuff every long-term couple eventually talks through. But then Dr. Grant asked her, "If you could go back and make a different choice, would you?" I watched her face shift in a way I hadn't seen before, almost like something in her unclipped its leash. She started talking about her ex-boyfriend, Ryan, a guy she dated in her mid-20s. I knew about him. I knew he'd left her. I knew she'd been devastated when we met. I didn't know she'd been following him on social media for a while. I didn't know they'd exchanged messages. "Just catching up," she said. "Nothing inappropriate." Funny how the most damaging things people do rarely start as inappropriate. Dr. Grant asked a question that split my life into before and after. If you had to choose right now in this moment between your husband and your ex, what would your gut say? I expected confusion, a pause, a breath, something acknowledging the nearly decade-long life we'd built. Instead, she said, "I'd choose him," like she was reading a weather report. Casual, instant, final. I swear the air conditioner sounded like a roaring jet engine in the silence that followed. Dr. Grant froze for half a second, just long enough for me to see even she wasn't expecting that level of brutal clarity. I stood up. My body moved before my brain did. "Then go choose him." Madison reached for me, panicked. "Ethan, wait. That's not what—" "No," I said. "You told the truth. I finally know where I stand." And I walked out. Because what else was there to say? What do you negotiate after someone tells you you're not their first choice and never have been? That night she left me a voicemail, crying so hard she could barely breathe, saying she didn't mean it like that, saying she'd panicked, that she loved me, that she chose me years ago, that she was sorry. I listened once, turned off my phone, and stared at the ceiling of my buddy Daniel's apartment, while the truth settled in my bones like wet cement. For years, I'd been second place and didn't know it. For days, I ignored her calls, her texts, the long paragraphs, the short, desperate one-liners, the voice messages that swung between apologizing and begging. I wasn't ready to hear any of it. And the more I thought about that therapy session, the more I realized she hadn't slipped. She had revealed. Within a week, I met with a divorce attorney. His answers were blunt. 50-50 split, no fault state, no kids, joint house, joint savings. Everything we worked for would be chopped clean down the middle. A financial amputation. But I didn't care. My dignity was worth more than a bank account. Madison received the divorce papers 2 days later. Her reaction didn't surprise me. Her mother's did. I got a call from her mom, Lynn, who has always treated conflict like a theatrical performance where she's the star. "How dare you blindside her with divorce papers?" she snapped. She was being honest in therapy. You always said you wanted honesty. Now you're punishing her for it. I'm not punishing her. I said, I'm just accepting what she told me. She made one mistake. She made a choice. Lynn continued lecturing me until I said goodbye and blocked her. I had no interest in fighting a war against an entire family. A day later, Madison's best friend, Emma, showed up at Daniel's apartment. Just knocked and walked in like she owned the place. Ethan, what are you doing? She demanded. You can't end a marriage over one emotional moment. It wasn't one moment, I said. It was 6 months of messaging her ex behind my back. She froze, blinked. How did you? I spoke to mutual friends. Her silence told me everything. She knew. Everyone knew but me. She wasn't cheating, Emma insisted weakly. She was just confused. Confusion doesn't last 6 months, I said. Please leave. She left with tears in her eyes, not for me, but for the image of the marriage she'd romanticized. Over the next few weeks, things escalated. Her father showed up at my workplace twice, yelling in the lobby until security escorted him out. Her sister sent texts from random numbers calling me a coward. Her attorney filed aggressive motions demanding I vacate the marital home. Never mind that both our names were on the deed. My attorney pushed back, but the constant barrage wore me down. During the financial disclosure phase, her lawyer claimed I hid assets because my salary increased last year. It was ridiculous. Everything was documented. Still, the accusation alone told me exactly how ugly Madison was willing to let this become. Then came the gut punch. I found out through a mutual friend that Madison's ex, this great love she apparently never got over, was in a serious relationship, had been for months. Vacation photos, meeting families, the whole thing. He was never coming back to her, never considering it, never entertaining the possibility she built an entire fantasy around. She'd blown up her marriage for a ghost. Learning that didn't make me feel victorious. It made me sad in a way I didn't expect. Sad that she'd ruined our life chasing something that never existed. Sad that she'd wasted not just my time, but her own. The divorce dragged for nearly 2 months. Motions, counter-motions, petty arguments over furniture, pressure from her family, silence from mine. And then, finally, the court date arrived. That morning, I saw Madison for the first time in nearly 8 weeks. She looked smaller, hollowed out, like the way of the last few months had carved her into a person I barely recognized. When we sat down at the table to sign the final papers, she whispered, I hope you know I never meant to hurt you. I know, I said. That's the worst part. She swallowed. What do you mean? If you'd hurt me intentionally, at least it would make sense. But you told the truth without thinking, instinctively, and your instinct wasn't me. She started crying softly. Her mother shot me a look like I'd pushed her daughter onto train tracks. I signed the papers, walked out. The next week, I moved into a small 1-bedroom apartment. Clean walls, quiet space, no memories, no shadows, no wondering if my wife was texting someone else behind a closed door. I should have felt lonely. Strangely, I didn't. I felt light, free in a way I hadn't felt in years. Last Monday, Madison sent me one final email. No drama, no begging, just words that felt like a confession too late to matter. I'm sorry. I realize now I actually meant what I said in therapy at the time. And you deserve to know the truth, even if it broke us. I'm sorry I wasted your years. I'm sorry I kept choosing fantasies over the man who actually showed up for me. I hope you find someone who picks you first every time. I couldn't give that to you, but you deserve it. I read it twice, sat there staring at my laptop while the past 10 years rearranged themselves into a story I finally understood. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. I'm not angry anymore. Not really. The anger faded once the truth settled in. What's left is acceptance and a quiet hope for a future that doesn't involve being second choice to anyone. If there's one thing I learned from all this, it's simple. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And when someone tells you they'd choose someone else over you, let them go. Don't bargain for worth you already have. Don't fight for a place in someone else's fantasy. Walk away with your dignity and never look back.